So as we discussed yesterday in chapter number 4, uh, sages of Naimisaranya have asked four sets of questions. Means there are four different kind of questions, but in those kind of questions there were multiple questions. So first question was in relation to history of Srimad Bhagavatam. Second set of questions were in relation to Vyasdev. What was the inspiration for Vyasdev to write this Bhagavatam? Third sets of questions were in relation to Sukdev Goswami. And fourth set of question was in relation to whom? That Parikshit Maharaj. So that we had discussed. If you go through in the chapter number 4, what all different questions were asked in relation to Parikshit Maharaj? Okay. So it is written here that these are the questions. It is said that Maharaj Parikshit is a great first class devotee of the Lord. So these are different questions in relation to Parikshit Maharaj. So sages of Naimisaranya asked this question to Sutta Goswami. Which are these questions in relation to Parikshit Maharaj? It is said that Maharaj Parikshit is great first class devotee of the Lord and that his birth and activities are all wonderful. So please tell us about him. So first question in relation to Parikshit Maharaj is that please tell me the birth and activities of Parikshit Maharaj. They are very wonderful because he was a devotee. Okay. And second set of question, it is mentioned that he was a great emperor and possessed all the opulence of his acquired kingdom. He has all the opulence. He was so exalted that he was increasing the prestige of Pandu dynasty. Why did he give up everything to sit down on the bank of the Ganges and fast until death? The first question was in relation to birth and activity. Second, that why he decided to fast until death by giving up everything, although he has everything. Then third, he says he was a much great emperor. He was such a great emperor that all his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for own benefit. He was full of youth and strength, and he possessed kingly opulence, what that were difficult to give up. Since he has such a opulence, it's very, very difficult. Someone has got a job, and if you tell him, then join the temple, it's very, very difficult for him. Immediately join. Okay. So, yeah, great emperor that all his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for their own benefit. And he was full of youth and strength, and he possessed kingly opulence that were very difficult to give up. Why did he want to give up everything, including his life? What was the reason? So that was third question in relation to Parikshit Maharaj. What was the fourth question? That he says, those who are devoted to the cause of personality. Okay, he's not attached, but let's say in different angle. So those who are devoted to the cause of the personality of Godhead live only for the welfare, development, and happiness for others. They do not live for any selfish interest. Okay, he may not be attached, then he should live for others. That's what they are saying. So even though the Emperor Parikshit was free from all attachment to worldly possession, how could he give up his mortal body, which was the shelter of others? Okay, he may not be attached, but his body was shelter for others. Then why he give up? Then fifth question was, we know that. So no, so these are the four set of questions. It has multiple things came up automatically in that sense. So then Sadhguru are saying that we know that you are expert in meaning of all subjects except some portion of the Veda. So Sukdev Goswami was self-realized, but he was not expert in some portion. Means pronouncing the mantra, he was not expert in pronouncing the mantra. That was the so that was okay. So if you are not able to pronounce the mantra, that's okay. Okay. So mm, yeah. So these are the four kind of question you can remember this text 9, 10, 11, and 12. These are the four kind of questions asked by the sages of Naimisharanya to Sud Goswami. Okay, so now Sud Goswami is answering. Okay, but before that, uh, Sonak Rishi is saying, okay, before Sud Goswami start answering, he says that स्वत्था स्वत्थाम्नो उपसृष्टेन ब्रह्मस्थिरस्नोरु तेजसा उत्तराय हतो गर्भ ईशेना जीवितः पुनः. So he says that, I'm sorry. Hmm. So he said that, what he said? Says Sonak said that the womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Aswathama. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord. Said that no, the womb was already spoiled. Womb was already spoiled. Okay, by the weapon released by Aswathama. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by what? He was saved by uh, Supreme Lord. So now Sonak Rishi. So if you remember in chapter number 7 and 8, we started seeing that how the son of Dronacharya Aswathama was punished. No, so that was leading to the answer that how the Parikshit Maharaj took birth, how he took birth, and what is his activity. So now Sonak Rishi is coming to the point. Okay, so that's what Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport that the sages assembled in the forest of Nimisaran inquired from Sud Goswami about the birth of Maharaj Parikshit. But in course of the narration of the topic, like the release of Brahmastra by the son of Drona, his punishment by the Arjuna, King Kunti's prayer, the Pandava visit to the place of Bhismadev was lying, his prayers, and thereafter Lord's departure for Dwarka were discussed. His arrival at Dwarka and besetting with the 16,000 queens were narrated. The sages were absorbed in hearing such a description because this activities was in relation to Krishna. Again, it was in relation to Krishna. That's why they were releasing. Okay, but now they wanted to turn to the original topic. Sometimes we discuss and while discussing some beautiful thing come up and we turns toward another topic. Then after some time we realize, oh, now they want to what now they want to turn to the original topic, and thus inquiry was made by Sonak Rishi. So the subject of release of the Brahmastra weapon by Aswathama is renewed. Okay, so Parikshit Maharaj Bhumbaputra was already destroyed by the dreadful weapon released by Aswathama, and he was saved by Supreme Lord. So that's what Sonak Rishi is saying. And he continues, he says, Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmana nidhanam cha yathe vasit sa pretya gatavan yatha. He says, how was the great Emperor Parikshit, who was highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? So womb was already destroyed by a dreadful weapon of Aswathama. So that's why the same, Now again in the question, another question is added that how Parikshit Maharaj took birth. And Krishna was narrating, Sukdev Goswami was narrating, and while narrating, he came, Sonak Adi Rishis came to know that that womb was destroyed. So now for them it was surprised that, oh, womb was already burned by a dreadful weapon released by the Aswathama. Then how he took birth? Okay, so that is the question. And the Parikshit, so who was highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb, how he took birth, how did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death? Okay, so that is the question. Okay, uh, okay, so we'll continue. So as I already mentioned that I'll not discuss the purport. Some purports, I'll discuss. Okay, So we basically go with the flow. Then he says, Tat idam srotum ichhamo gaditum yadi manyase bruhina sraddha dhananam yasya jnana adachukha. So he says that we all respectfully want to hear about him, Maharaj Parikshit, to whom Sukdev Goswami imparted transcendental knowledge. We want to hear what happened, how he took birth, or how his death took place, and what he achieved after death. So they wanted to achieve. Okay, so so that is what their question was. So please speak on this matter. They are requesting to Sukdev Goswami. They are requesting, please speak on this matter. Okay, so then Sut Goswami answered that again, they repeated the question indirectly, what was mentioned in chapter number 4. So now Sut Goswami answers that he says, Apipala Dharma Raja, Sutvacha, Apipala Dharma Raja, Pitru Vada Ranajayan Praja, Nihaspruha Sura Kamebhya, Krishna Padanu Sevayaha. So Sut Goswami said, Emperor Yudhisthira administered generously to everyone during his reign. So now he's describing little bit about Yudhisthira Maharaj. So that is coming in context. So he was exactly like his father. Okay. So who? So Yudhishthir was exactly like a father of Parikshit Maharaj because Parikshit Maharaj's father Abhimanyu was killed in Battle of Mahabharata. So basically, Parikshit Maharaj was raised, grown up under the direction of five Pandavas. Okay. So then he says, uh, everyone, sorry, he was like a father for all the praja, not just here about Parikshit Maharaj. But they said that Yudhishthira administered generally to everyone during his reign, and he was exactly like his father. So he was taking care of prajas just like their father. Okay. Then he says, how? He had no personal ambitions and was free from all sort of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna. Since Yudhishthir Maharaj was continuously engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, he was free from the sense gratification. So if you really want to be free from the sense gratification, okay, so then what we have to do? We have to be engaged in the service of Krishna without unmotivatedly, uninterruptedly. Then we can be free from sense gratification. Krishna in human society for all the suffering humanity of the world. And we simply request the leading personalities of the all nation to take to the science of Krishna for their own good. So, so if you want to become like Yudhishthir, for peaceful, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, then we have to engage in the service of Krishna. Okay. So then Sukh Goswami continues. Sampada kratavo loka mahisi bhrataro mahi जम्बूद्वीप आधिपत्यम च यशस्य त्रिदिवम गतम्. So news, so how, the way Yudhishthira Maharaj was administering the kingdom, so regarding that the news reached the celestial planets about Maharaj Yudhishthira's worldly possession. So he was possessing good opulence, okay, and that news reached to even celestial planets, means heavenly planets. The sacrifice by which he would attain better benediction. Okay. So, so what news even reached the celestial planet about Maharaj Yudhishthir's worldly possession, the sacrifice by which he would attain better destination, his queen, his stalwart brothers, okay, his extensive land, his sovereignty over the planet Earth, his fame, etc. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, the news related to Yudhishthir Maharaj was reached the celestial planet. Okay. So किमते काम सुरस्पाह मुकुंद मनसो द्विजा अधीज अधीजहुर्मुदम राज Ragna Suddhitasya Yathetere. O Brahmana. So Sukadeva Goswami is telling to Sanak Rishis, O Brahmanas, the opulence of the king was so enchanting that denizens of heaven aspired for it. No, they want to live, come down and live in the kingdom of Yudhisthir Maharaj. But because he was absorbed in the service of the Lord, nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service. So Yudhishthir Maharaj so nicely absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that none of the Aishwarya, none of the opulence could even attract him from the service of Lord Krishna. Okay. Mhm. So there are two things in the world which can satisfy living entity. When one is materially engrossed, he is satisfied only by sense gratification, but when one is liberated from the condition of material modes, he is satisfied only by rendering loving service for the satisfaction of the Lord. So only two things. Either you are fully engrossed in material activities, or you might have, to engage in the service of Krishna. Okay. So, so that is very, very important. So this means that living being is continuously a servitor and not one who is served. So constitutional position of the living entities is to serve the Supreme Lord. Okay. Yes. Matur Matur Garbagato Vihra Satada Bhrugunandana Dadarsa Purusam Kinchi Kanchit Dahayamanu Astra Tejasaha. So he says, O son of Bhrugu. So Sanak Rishi was the son of Bhrugu. Okay. So Sonak Bhrugu, oh son of Bhrugu, Sonak, when the child Parikshit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra thrown by Aswatthama, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. So now, Sudha Goswami is answering the question that how he has been protected in the womb of Uttara. Is mentioning about that. That what when he was burning by the heat of Brahmastra, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. He saw the Supreme Lord. Okay. Then he says, no, Angushta matram amalam purat maulinam apivya darsanam syamam tadidavasasam achyutam. So now he describing what kind of form Parikshit Maharaj saw. Okay. Now, no, Krishna, Lord was only thumb high. So this is what the Parikshit Maharaj observed in the womb of Uttara. That the Lord was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had very beautiful blackish, infallible body, and he wore a dress of lightning yellow and helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child. So this is the observation of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. This kind of Krishna, this was the look of Lord Krishna in the womb as a Paramatma. Then he says, Srimad Dirga Chatur Bahum Tapta Kanchana Kundalam Satajam Gada Panim Atmanaha Sarvatodisam Paribrahmatam Ulkabham Brahmayantam Gadamuhu. The Lord was enriched with the forehand. So that Paramatma was four-handed form. Earring of molten gold. He was wearing gold earrings. Eyes blood reddened with furry. Huh? And as he loitered about, his club constantly encircled him like a shooting star. So he was encircling the club to protect the Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. So this is the form he saw. Then he says, Astrateja Swagadaya Nihara Eva Gopati Vidyam Antasanir Karse Paryekshatah Ka Iti Yaso. Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra. The Brahmastra is like a nuclear weapon. The modern nuclear weapon and Brahmastra is difference. Brahmastra just target the Brahmastra just hit the target. He doesn't disturb other things. But modern nuclear weapon disturb whatever is around the target and including target, right? Brahmastra can be taken back. Nuclear weapon cannot be taken back. Brahmastra has the power to destroy whole earth. Nuclear weapon can, can disturb one city or maybe some area. That is the difference. Okay. So modern nuclear weapon, sorry, Brahmastra is a kind of nuclear weapon, but much more controlled. So then, Sud Goswami is saying, the Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. जैसे night there is a dew on the grass. So when sunlight come, the dew will automatically be evaporated. So same way the Brahmastra dews are very less and sunlight can easily evaporate them. So same way for the Lord the radiation was nothing. It was very tiny. He can easily vanquish that radiation. So just he has to was rotating the club. Okay. So how he? So the Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. He was observed by the child who thought about who he was. When the Parikshit Maharaj saw him, and he was thinking, who is this guy? Who is this person? Okay. Then he says, Viduya tadameyatma Bhagwan dharma guba vibhu nishato dasama sasya tatreva antar dadade hari. So while thus being observed by the child, so when Parikshit Maharaj saw the Supreme Lord like this thing, while thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, and the protector of the righteous, who stretches in all direction, who is unlimited by the time and space disappear at once. So after vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, the form of the Lord disappeared. Okay. So that way he disappeared. Then he says, Tata sarva guno dharke sanukula grahodaya jagye vamsadhara pandor bhuya panduri ojasaha. So he says, thereupon when all Zodiac revealed the higher element of Pandu who would be exactly like him in progress to birth. So when great personality is about to appear, all the planetary systems automatically be arranged in the good position. So when you read Krishna book or 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, so it is so nicely mentioned about it, how the planets were arranged so beautifully during the appearance of Lord Krishna. Same way now Gaur Purnima is coming. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, the planetary systems were arranged automatically so nicely, means up to by the will of Lord Krishna, so nicely that that indicates the birth of great personality. So same way when Maharaj Parikshit was about to appear in the from the womb of Uttara, zodiac signs were gradually evolved so nicely. Okay, so that is mentioned that. So astronomical calculation of stellar influence upon the living beings is not supposition. So ग्रहों का असर होता है. No, if you don't believe, but you just observe. There are some mentally retarded people. They become more aggressive during Amavasya and Purnima. So this shows that how planets affects them. Okay. So astronomical calculation of terror influence upon the living beings are not su- supposition but are factual as confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This astronomical ग्रहों की असर होती है. So every living being is controlled by the law of nature at every minute, just as the citizen is controlled by the influence of the state. So in this chapter number 2, he will clearly, we'll discuss that how, all senses of the bodies are ruled by different demigods. Okay. So if sometimes some senses are troubling you more, then आपको ज्योतिष बोलेगा ये अंगूठी पहन लो, वो अंगूठी पहन लो, वो देवता को खुश करने की अंगूठी पहन लो, just to make that demigod happy, and so that it doesn't trouble you, it becomes favorable for you. So that way they give you a ring or whatever, not only ring, whatever, something they give you to wear. Okay. So this thing happens, but we should not involve in all those things, because if you go to astrologer and they suggest you, what will they do? Okay, let's say you are suffering now and you want to be free from the suffering. So you may have some good karma and you may have some bad karma. You are suffering right now because of the reaction of the bad karma, and you may be enjoying in the future or maybe in next life because of the reaction of your good karma. So when you wear all those things, demigod earring and all, वो कर्मा को आगे पीछे करता है. It will not nullify. Bad karma will not nullify. Whatever you are suffering, which will postpone later on, and the enjoyment will brought before. But you will not be free from this reaction of the karma. If you want to free from the reaction of karma, then you have to perform devotional service. Okay. So we'll discuss this thing in chapter number 2, that how the different senses are ruled. Okay. So that is what the state laws are grossly observed, but the law of material nature being settled to our gross understanding cannot be experienced grossly. Okay. So we'll discuss that in later chapter. Okay. So he says, Tasya Pritamanah Raja विप्रे धौम्य रूपादिभिः जातकं कारयाम आस वाचयित्वा च मंगलम. So King Yudhisthir, who was very satisfied with the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, had the purificatory process of birth performed, and learned Brahmanas headed by Dhumya and Krupa decided auspicious him. So Parikshit Maharaj, that's what is mentioned here, that thereupon when all the good signs of zodiac gradually evolved, the higher apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in first, took birth. Now Parikshit Maharaj has appeared. Okay, he took birth. So now then Yudhisthir Maharaj is engaging, requesting Domya and Krupacharya to perform a purificatory process of birth. Okay, with recitation of auspicious hymn. So who is Domya Muni? Who is Krupacharya? So you can read in the purport. Okay, I am not discussing. प्रादत्त स्वनम च विप्रेभ्य प्रजातीर्थे सतीर्थ. With upon the birth of son, the king, who knew how, where, and when charity should be given, gave gold, land, village, elephant, horse, good food, grains to the brahmana. So generally, जन्मदिन के दिन आज हमारा ट्रेंड बन गया, हम गिफ्ट लेते हैं. But actually, as per this thing, this is for Kshatriya, okay? But Kshatriya and Vaishya, they offer the charity on their birthday. They don't accept charity, but they offer the charity. Okay. If you read in Krishna book, when Lord Krishna was appeared, Nanda Maharaj also gave in charity. Okay. And Vasudeva also performed charity, at least in mind, because he had nothing to give. He was in prison house of the Kamsa. And here King Yudhishthir, after the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, he is offering charity. What he is offering charity? Gold, land, villages, गांव दान में दे देते. Okay, किसको? ब्राह्मणों को. Okay, elephant, horse, food, good food, grain to the brahmana. So he was giving all those things. Okay, so only the brahmanas and sannyasis are authorized to accept the charity from the householder. So those who have fully dedicated for propagating the Krishna consciousness, they are authorized to ask charity, not for their sense gratification, but to propagate the Krishna conscious movement. Okay, so that only for that sakes, they can ask charity, not for their sense gratification. Please do remember this thing. And he says, in all different occasions of samskara, especially during the time of birth, marriage, and death, the wealth is distributed to Brahmana because the Brahmana give the highest quality of service in regard to prime necessity of humankind. And this charity has to be given to Brahmana and Vaishnava. Okay. The charity was substantial in the shape of gold, land, village, horse, elephant, and food grains with other materials for cooking, complete foodstuff. The Brahmanas were not therefore poor in the actual sense of the term. On the contrary, because they possess gold, land, village, horse, elephant, and sufficient grain, they had nothing to earn for themselves. They would simply devote themselves to the well-being of the entire society. So how can they used to serve the society? By giving them Krishna conscious knowledge. So actually, if you see nowadays, if you go to so many temples, they ask money. If you go Jagannath Puri temple or so many, they people are give money, give money. Why? Actually, it's not their fault. It's the fault of the Vishya and those who are earning. They are not giving them charity. If they give, then this tendency will go away. Okay, so that is one of the reason. Maybe there may be also that they might be misusing. That is different thing, but not all are like that. Okay, okay. So here the word Tirthavati is significant because the king knew well where and when charity has to be given. Charity is never unproductive or blind. The king knew whom charity, who should be given charity. Okay, so that we discuss in Bhagavad Gita chapter number 70. Okay. So in Shastra, charity was offered to a person who deserved to accept charity by dint of spiritual enlightenment. Charity किसको देना चाहिए? Those who are engaged in the propagating the spiritual knowledge. The so-called Daridra Narayan, misconception of the Supreme Lord by unauthorized person is never to be found in the Shastra as the object of charity. लोग कोई गरीब है करके नहीं देना चाहिए. Okay, everyone is poor actually. If they are lacking in Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, then everyone is poor. Okay, so that is very, very important. Okay, so this is very clear. Then in the next verse it says, Tama uchur brahmana stushta rajanam pras- प्रस्रयान्वितम् ऐसा ही अस्मिन् प्रजातन्तो पुरु Pauravarbha. He says, learned Brahmana who were very satisfied with the charities of the king addressed him as the chief among the Purus. That he of descent from the Purus. Okay. So they were glorifying their ancestors. The Brahmanas were glorifying their ancestors. Then he says, so then what Brahmana is talking? So we'll discuss tomorrow onwards. Okay, in this verse. Then he says, Devena pratighatena sukle samstha upeyusi rato va anugraharthaya Vishnuna Prabha Vishnuna. So he says, the Brahmana said, this spotless sun has been restored by the all-powerful, all-pervasive Lord Vishnu. Okay, the personality of Godhead in order to oblige you. He was saved when he was doomed to be destroyed by the irresistible supernatural weapon. So what Brahmana is telling, we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you have any question, comment, feedback, you can unmute and ask.